We are now going to look at modifying the scripture lesson. This will be quite similar to the last video where we looked at modifying the screens for the invocation and confession. But maybe we'll just give you an idea of what I do for the scripture reading. So I am going to, this is still what's left over from Christmas. I'm going to go into the editor. And I'm actually going to strip away all but one. And then I'm going to use this one. Okay. So I need to set a background. Brittany creates these for us. And I leave a blank one there as the pastor speaks. It clears the screen and gets people ready for what is coming next, but doesn't quite announce what's coming right away. So now I need to kind of format this to fit this series. So I'm going to create a dark one here for this. And I'm not sure I like that much shadow. I'm going to go and check here. So I'm just using the arrows here, and yes, the shadow is a little bit much. So I'm going to go and change that in the editor. You also see this appears to be underlined, so I'm going to get rid of that. And the shadow is currently blue. Maybe I'm going to just change it to a lighter green. Instead of 5, let's make it 3. And see how that looks. So some of this is just trial and error to see how that looks. And I do like that a lot better. Notice there is a slight gray shadow here, but the white on the lighter background does not show up well. So let me go back here, modify the text, and I might do a lighter green. I may just change the shadow to 1, so it's slightly there, but not greatly visible. And actually, I'm going to do, oops, sorry, undo that, do a little bit of a test. So copy and paste this one, and then I'm going to see how it looks with no shadow in the other one. Okay, so here's the first one with a shadow of 1. This has absolutely no shadow, and I actually think I like the no shadow better. So I'm going to go back into the editor and move the one, delete slide, remove the one that had no shadow. Okay, so now that I have it formatted, I am going to just put this information in here. Isaiah 49 verses 1 through 7. And sometimes I remove the NIV here if it doesn't quite fit, but I think this one is okay. Now I did make this one a little bit bigger at Christmas. It should stay between the 2 outer lines, at least for us during the reading. That's how I established them. And I will create a video in the future about how to create or set those boundary lines. But for this one, I think now we are in, it's a little bit close on that side. And I think I spread that out because these Old Testament readings sometimes tend to not quite fit in there as well. I'm going to copy and paste this, purely because on this first slide, what's nice then is that only the reading shows up. It gives people time to find it in their Bibles if needed before the text actually appears. And then I can copy and paste those into here and paste and match style. And if you want to, you can change the Old Testament, the prophecies and the more poetic readings that sometimes have this indent that sometimes works well, sometimes doesn't. If needed, you can always add a hanging indent to help with that one, since this one was already set there. That didn't change much. So I'm going to just move that back to this area here. So I paused and I added a few more slides in here. You can see starting at slide 1, I decided to go with a little bit of the hanging indent in here, so I just pulled this over a little bit further. So the first line here, I suppose I may just look at this. It's a little bit too far. So I'm kind of going through seeing how I want to format them. Just kind of indenting there. So there's verse 5. Let's undo. Verse 6 starts down there. And then verse 7 went a little bit longer than I wanted it to. So I'm actually going to copy and paste that just to kind of save myself a little bit of time. I'm going to delete that portion. It went through the word kept. So I'm just going to delete that portion. And through the ends of the earth. That should be verse 6. Have kept to the ends of the earth. Okay, since those are the same, and I can put the first half of verse 7 in there. Copy. This one, copy and paste the slide. And copy. Paste match style. And just to offset that a little bit there. And usually in this last one, it will show without text the previous screen. It'll use the background. I actually think I want to clear it up the box too, since that was in Brittany's preset background. I'm just going to pull this absolutely blank one in there. And then before I quit, I want to check and see how that one looks. So this is how it would play out as I advance the slides using the arrow key. And this is also a good time to check and make sure you have all of the verses there as well. And then it goes to that background at the end. So this would be how to create a scripture reading, how to copy and paste slides, and then copy and paste the text from the source material. I will do it again, but I don't need to make a second recording for that one. So I hope that helped.